Right, with that, I'll hand over to Yash for the demo.
That was awesome, Daryl. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is the flow of the demo of MPLS 10.09 release. We are going to see MPLS L3 VPN, how the OSPF is configured with all the LSR, and also how the MPBGP is established between the PEs, and how MPLS LDP is able to give the MPLS transport label to all the loopbacks in that LSR, what you see here. For simplicity, for you to understand and try out yourself, I've made two setups. One, we are going to go through 3-node LSR. That means PE, P, and a PE2. This is a 3-node LSR. We'll go through this one. And then afterward, the complete demo, let's do with the 5-node LSR, where we will be able to clearly see push, swap, and the pop operation. Okay. And also you might be thinking, because we don't support multicast on MPLS today, so how do we deploy this one? That may be another question you might have. We have a solution, a workaround for you on that. With that, let's get started. As Daryl mentioned, you don't need to have any MPLS on the CE. But the overall MPLS is from the PE, right? So let's see the configuration, what is there on the PE as Daryl was talking about. Before you enable anything, for sure, you need to enable with a host name. Start with that one. That's your step one. After that, enable your IGP. Currently supported is only OSPF. So run your IGP and have that loop back with the same area. That's your step 3. Step 4, you're going to enable the MPLS on the global mode. Once you do this, on the P's only, you are going to create a VRF. Which is this VRF? This is the customer 1, which you are connected, the CE1, that is your VRF, which you are connecting here. What is new here compared to your VXLAN EVPN is, which I'm highlighting, L3 VPN only is the configuration which is new. And without this, you cannot run this VRF in L3 VPN. This is mandate. You cannot use EVPN VRF in L3 VPN MPLS. Okay. With that, we are done with almost all the configuration except the IBGP running on your PE. So have the IBGP running on your PE, and this is something new. Please make address family VPN v4 unicast, and you are going to provide your neighbor, right? And this is the VRF routes of the CE which you are distributing, which you already saw in the discussion with Daryl. Once after this, your global configuration, that is till the step 6, these are all global configuration from step 1 till the step 6. Once after that one, you have to enable it on a write interface. What is your write interface? The VRF is attached to towards the customer edge. That means towards the site 1. This is where you are going to VRF attach that interface is what you are looking at. And for the MPLS side, these are the 2 commands which are new as part of 10.9 release. You are going to enable the MPLS enable, MPLS LDP enable. If you miss MPLS LDP enable, it's not going to work. If you even just configure the MPLS enable, LDP enable, default, this will not get enabled. That means both the configuration admin has to configure on the MPLS interfaces. Where you are running your IGP, remember, where you are running your IGP towards your MPLS core, there you are going to enable the MPLS. Some of the things you have to make a note, there is something known as sub features in MPLS, MPLS LDP discovery hello. This is the UDP hello packet, how you see on the OSPF, same way it will be sent every 15 seconds. That you can configure also on the interfaces. There is a LDP session hold time. That means if LDP is established between the loopbacks, label is distributed, how much time should I hold the LDP session up? That is what the LDP hold time. and you can configure that also. Default is 15 seconds for hello, and this one is the 40 seconds LDP hold time. There is a command for you to even check the capacity of the MPLS and also the status, how much it is used on the box. These are the commands for those. So we saw the P1 configuration. Let us see the P configuration. As Daryl said, we always recommend to keep it as route reflectors on the P. So if you look at it, this is how you're going to do it. Here the steps are less. There you had the 7 steps. Here you're going to have you're going to have 6 steps, 1 to 6, including your host name. So that's so simple. Team has worked out. So the host name is you're going to configure whichever the P router. This P, remember, this is for the swap operation, isn't it? In case if it is a 3 node, what happens is, as Daryl mentioned, to make sure the PE capability goes up, we do a pop operation at the explicit null. Whatever we get, the pop operation will be done at the P itself. So if you look at it here, we are going to configure the host name, and we are going to configure that IGP and configure the loopback, attach that IGP, whatever you are configured, and enable the MPLS on the global mode. Once after that one, because you are running a RR, so make sure you run the step 5. So once after that one, you are going to attach the MPLS towards your PE1 as well as your PE2. If you look at, these are the last step, that is 6.1 and 6.2, because it's a P node. Okay. As you saw on the PE, I'm not going to show you the PE2. It is exactly replica, same configuration, not much difference. But on the CE1, as Daryl said, it is so simple. Basically, this is towards the customer side, that is towards here, it is X here, and this is towards your PE, which you are connected, and you are going to form a eBGP between these two. Between your customer side and the CE1, you can run whatever you wish, right? That is not under our control. But what we are recommending is run the eBGP between CE1 and PE1, run the IBGP for MPBGP between the PEs. And here for the LDP to work, we are only recommending run the IGP as the OSPF today. So we saw the configuration. I'm sure you will be looking for all the show commands. Let's see some of the show commands here, and then we can get into the demo portion of on the devices. So configuration, we just did, we verified all of that. And first command you are going to see is the IP route command. Make sure this IP route has a reachability with all the OSPF. That means it has a 2-2 address. I'm executing on PE1. That means it should have a reachability to PE2 as well as PE3. Because it has a PE2 and PE3 reachability, we have enabled the LDP on top of these interfaces. It can generate labels. Each devices generate label for each loop back inside that LSR, right? So all the LSR devices will generate a label for each one of these loop backs. So how do I check that one? You can see show LDP, show MPLS LDP neighbor. This is the command. It will also show you currently graceful restart. This is not supported. Session hold time, which I was talking about, it is 40 seconds. You can always configure this one. Uptime, basically, if you give any time shut, no shut, that means LDP is going to flap and come back with a new label assignment for all the loopback addresses. That is the uptime. That means if don't think like that switch uptime is the LDP uptime. No, LDP uptime is basically whenever the LDP started giving the label and it has a complete LSP path. That is where the uptime means. The state is operational, that is completely fine. And the LDP discovery source, which is the source interface, that means where from which interface it is able to discover this 333 address. Also note, in order to make sure it will not distribute a duplicate IPs, it will make sure all the LSP path, the peer IPs are covered in the LSP. So that way it will not distribute the duplicate IPs. This is the one of the best command. Whatever you till now verified is like control plane. What we are going to do is something known as forwarding. This is what will be used for all the active session. For example, if you have a lot of ECMP, all of that path will be there in the show MPLS LDP neighbor or show MPLS LDP binding. But if you want to see which is the active label which is getting used in the data path, the command for that one is show MPLS forwarding. where you will be able to see VPN v4 routes as well as all the label information in this command. And this is the popular command. I would request you all to use it. You will understand L3 VPN in a nutshell. If you look at this one, there is an entry binding. That means to reach 222, I have an ingress VRF as default. The next stop, the 222, I can reach with the next stop of as 30.0.0.2. And the outgoing label, as Daryl was talking about, the out label will be assigned by the remote connected LDP neighbor. So this is, it is connected, the P1 is connected to currently, if you look at the diagram, is connected to this P3, okay? This P3, and this P3 has given this label 17, and the interface is 1/1/38. There is some more information which we have to look at in this. There is an exit binding. If you look at it, this one, for self, for the self, that means 1.1.1, it is gives the explicit null. It is giving explicit null. But if you look at these routes, BGP, it has given 2200, whatever you are seeing here, and also 201. These are coming from here, all the way from the customer side. You can see here. So 201 route is coming, and it has an outgoing label of 18. How it is able to get, this is called service label, okay? So if you look at below, to get this one, how we get this 201 is the overall VPN v4 routes, how they are reaching, and how we are going to make use of the MPLS transport is what we have to understand here. So if you look at the transit binding, I think this command is executed on a device which has a, you can see here the 222 has given this label. Now we have to move to the egress. The next stop is 30.0.0.2. The 30.0.0.2 is nothing but the P3. So if I go down, if you look at this one, it is learning all of these routes. As Daryl was mentioning, this is your IBGP route. That means it is coming from CE1 to PE1. This is your VPN v4 routes. You can see here B/V. If you look at your table of information, this is internal, this is a VPN V, right? So you can see that one here, B/V. These routes are learned via VPN v4 routes, right? And here, this is what you are pushing from the CE1 side. We will see all of that during the demo also, so that live I can execute this command and show you. The next command is the, as Daryl was talking about, show BGP VPN v4 unicast neighbor. So you can see that one. And the one good thing which you have to observe here is the VPN v4 SS. This is what the new thing which is getting added, address family VPN v4, which we configured there. It is getting enabled here. And after that, this is on the VRF, right? So make sure you're checking your VRF towards the whatever you are getting from the customer side. So verify that one. And after that, between the CE and PE, you're going to verify whether you have the connectivity or not. So if you see here on the CE1, you're verifying all your routes are coming. That is CE1 to PE1. These are the routes. These customer routes are coming. And also you can see this is learned via eBGP from the PE1 to CE1. Okay, that is what, and the ping part is what this all about. Let's move on and see the 5-node topology, and that is what the demo will discuss more. So here, if you look at it, I have all the configuration with this 5-node topology. So what we will do is we'll go through this topology and on the devices. Okay, for your information, all the things have been captured here. For example, as I was telling, the VPN v4 routes are getting 16 as the service label, you can see. And this guy, for all the 101 routes, is giving 47 as the service label to the other side. So if you go through this path to reach 222, the next stop is 40. If you look at here 40.0.0.2, that is 40.0.0.2 to reach the 222, the outgoing label is 22. The next stop is 40.0.0.2, that is next stop is this one. So if you go to the next slide and see, to reach for 222, now this guy, whoever the P4 has given the 22 as the label, and the next stop is the P5 has given the outgoing label as 20, and the next stop address is 7102. That is on this interface. Okay, that is nothing but you have to reach the P5. If you reach the P5, to reach 222, this is how you should flow to get the MPLS transport label understanding, because you need to get to know how those service label, that is for the VPN v4 routes, are reached on the PE1. This is how you should see the out label and move on to the next stop, and so that you know which is the incoming label and which is the outgoing label for the 222. So this way, the MPLS transport label will be distributed all the way from the PE1 to the PE2. Okay. With this, let's go on. These are all there on the slide. You can take a look at even the configuration. Everything is there on the slide. Let's move to the demo topology.